Boom. Hey man, how are you doing? How are you guys doing?
Hi, good.
All right, everyone, welcome to the final post-game analysis of the third meeting of the Facilitative Working Group on Local Communities and Indigenous Peoples platform. 4 days, very intensive, and every single day after every meeting, we did a quick debrief analysis, sharing thoughts on what occurred on that day. Finalize it. FWG3 next meeting will be potentially 14th until 17th of December. So you can put that into your agendas, but not before. Yeah, we had some some interesting discussions today about. We started off with coherence of the platform with bodies and processes outside of the convention. We had the breakout groups in the morning, and in the afternoon we talked a little bit about stock take, and then also on other matters, which included a brief dialogue about Article 6. And then obviously, we went into the final wrap up of everything. So Estebancio, let me start off with you. What's your overall view of FWG3?
As you already expressed, it was interesting, and I think that it is very obvious as Hindou reaffirmed, expressing in one of the sessions that we need really a physical presence to do this kind of work. I mean, it's not possible. I mean, you could see today very interesting question and misunderstanding from different UN agencies relating to indigenous knowledge, and we only have 3. I mean, UNCBD, which most of us know that, FAO is starting. I mean, maybe it started a long time ago, but I remember when I was in Europe, it didn't have any person to working in regarding indigenous people's rights, and neither indigenous people's knowledge. So that's a very interesting issue that we need to deal now. We need to face. That's one thing. The other thing is the question of our caucus. Where is our caucus? And I think for me, it's really, what can I tell you? This is the decision-making process. You know, this is our caucus. Nothing else, no other group exists. This is our caucus who make the decision. And I think that that's what I was concerned. And I think that we made, some mistakes, because there are things that we need to discuss among ourselves as a caucus. No Facilitative Working Group need to discuss about our caucus. And that's an issue. And we knew that when we talk about the second session, we knew that some parties diplomatically will say, I need to go to my mission, contact my offices. That's it.
You're referring to the Article 6 conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that that is the issue, because the first session was more informative, how they're going to collaborate, the partnership that they want to do. That even we need to go in depth discussion, how we're going to do that, and how the caucus or the regional or the indigenous people from the community themselves will participate on these kind of things, you know, because I'm not an expert in everything. I cannot say, so I'm gonna need to go out to my region and ask questions and try to understand.
Yeah, actually, I agree totally with my brother Estebancio. it's fine, Estebancio. I totally agree with you. The broader outcome of the Facilitative Working Group, it was great meeting. We saw each other across the screen, and when we talk, but what is the outcome concretely? What is the trend? So still physical meeting is needed. We need to meet physically. And secondly, we discuss a lot about what we can do inside or outside, how we can be together and how we can work with other organizations and how we can work among ourselves. And the reality catch us in our way. And then they say the facilitative working group is a technical team. We are not a negotiating team. So we cannot do anything beyond our mandate. And that's something what Estebancio explained clearly. Our focus is our main place of decision. We can do everything. We have to focus only because the parties can go back. They say, I have to keep discuss with my group and I'm not agree on this one. And reminding us we are not a negotiating team all the time. But if we have to discuss, they say nothing. When we discuss everything, we lost all our energy to try to do that. No one is saying anything constructive. But when we come, we need to vote, we need to do something, they all are ready to say we are not in our mandate because we are not a negotiating body and they need to go back to the seat.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Esmancho. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to finish. Sorry, I got a call, but I need to respond later now. What I was saying is that it is difficult. I understand it's the difficulties that we have as a region. Some regions may think and see the other way. But I think that we all have enough experience and dealt with the parties. Now we cannot say that the Facilitative Working Group will be the place that can do our work because the caucus cannot do the work. That's, I think, that I cannot accept. I mean, somehow we have been doing the work in different processes. I mean, we never had direct participation, but we also have used the lobbying system, the contact system with some parties, big NGOs to support us, and we have put, I mean, we changed the game here in UNFCCC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 12 years ago in 2008, people were not talking human rights-based approach. People were talking business. And we came, indigenous people came, and every year, adding one by one, and we changed the game. And now we do it. So now I am very concerned that some of our brothers and sisters think this is the only place that could do the work, when we have been doing the work as an Indigenous Peoples caucus. I mean, I understand. Now, the other thing, the Secretariat is very clear. We don't have the mandate. And in order that we say something to recommend and they take into consideration, they need to ask us. And now we want to send a letter, and that has to be in SABSTA formal meeting. So what happens if in the same time our the Article 6 is negotiating and SABSTA need to decide whether they're going to ask a Facilitated Working Group give some recommendation or advice.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't think that it's going to happen anyway. But that's concerning me. I think that we need to respect a little bit more to the Indigenous People Caucus who have been doing the work, good or bad, but we have been doing the work. Somehow, we cannot get everything like anywhere else. I mean, we have the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. We didn't get everything. We got what we got. And the same thing in the other instrument or international standards. So we have to be very clear on this. And that, how you say, I felt a little bit disappointed. I think that we spent too much in something that I feel that we're not winning. And we won one, you know? So that's I think. I think that the other thing is it's important, the collaboration, partnership, but we need to be very clear, and I think that the Hindou was very clear on this, saying And I like you, even that you didn't say anything in the main floor, but maybe the self-determination. Maybe the self-determination is more important than FPIC, because everything coming from the self-determination, you know? So that's one thing that, but the good thing is that we are very clear what we would like to see for our community. Mm-hmm. That's what we want. I mean, we always gonna have different point of view. My Amazon group, they have different views, and you can hold the rights of self-determination because you believe in other things, and we have to be very clear on this.
Yeah, just to talk a little bit on that, Hindou, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. We saw a slide as well of like 20 processes, and that was a list of processes that the platform on that the Facilitative Working Group could interact with. My first thought was, but Indigenous peoples are not even engaging in those processes, or we want to engage, but we're not engaging in that. So my concern is that we're sending Facilitative Working Group to all these processes, but Indigenous peoples themselves are not even in all these processes. And are we putting everything? And I think that's what Estebancio just now also like is relating to. It's like, are we putting all our eggs in one basket of the Facilitative Working Group, whereas the caucus itself should be moving in all these processes? And you talked about it as well, Hindou, to a certain extent. Any afterthoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, actually, when they say the bodies, just the UN bodies, they list it a lot. Even some of them, we say, are they really necessary for the Indigenous people life or not? It is just like a list of bunch of the things. And they say there are opportunities that the Facilitative Working Group work with them. And at the end of the day, for me, is it just a strategy to put a big list of things and saying, you have the opportunity, we give you ask the way, we give you, so go and do it. And if we couldn't do it, they say, you see, we know, you failed, because you cannot do it. So I just thinking it is a strategy for them, or it is just like ignorance that they put everything and nothing in the way and saying the Facilitative Working Group can represent all Indigenous peoples. They are wrong. We are just talking about the knowledge of Indigenous peoples. One component of the life of Indigenous peoples who is positive, of course, that's why they are very caring about it. And I am so worried about that because they cannot take our positive part and build up everything and say you can have the space in all those fora. And when we say we are fighting for our rights, we are fighting for our land, we are fighting for access to the water, access to all the development, we are fighting for our islands that are going underwater, our dry land. So when we have the most important issues, they never call Indigenous peoples to come and sit in the table and discuss. So it is really not normal what they are saying. They are confusing the world there. We are only 7. And they have 7 from the parties. So are they asking the people who already are there, the parties, to go in those fora, or they are asking the 7 of us to divide ourselves in the pieces to be on the more than 20 role? So they are really wrong on the strategy. That's why we said we need to see our priorities first, and we need to focus on the mandate of this war, and the rest we will package them in the caucus and we will devise ourselves. If they give us the space, they must show up and say the Indigenous peoples in general will give you the space in all those bodies.
Yeah, Estebancio, the conversation about Article 6, I think it exposed a lot of things. One, like Daly said, the limitations of the Facilitative Working Group. It's not a non-negotiating body. I think that is something that we have to be very clear of. I think you and I, the three of us were in these negotiations, and that was something that states would not negotiate on. That was their hard line, red line. What it also exposed, and it was kind of funny actually, because Hindou talked about it in the previous debriefs, is that mostly Indigenous people's representatives were talking during the dialogues in the last couple of days, But during the Article 6 dialogue, like almost every state representative took the floor and talking and like sharing their thoughts, of course, like the issues that they have to deal with in terms of any conversation on Article 6. So that was kind of funny to see that. Like once you get into their backyard, they're like, oh, hold on, no, this is Article 6, this is politics, now I have to say something about it.
Sorry to cut you, Khazari, this is very funny for me. I was like, I forgot about them, you know, when they spin off them camera, and then you do not see them, you forget that they are there. But when we come back to the business, where there is money, and where for us it is cutting our forest or selling our forest, they are up. All of them are up and then saying like, no, Article 6, we don't have the mandate. We have to go back and look at our constituencies and come back. No, you cannot do that. It's so funny and so unjust for me to see that they can just react where there is interesting for them. Where there is a need for indigenous peoples, they are not there at all. So maybe we need to rethink about what will be the role of the facilitative working group, or what will be the mandate, or if it's the right place that we are, how our relationship may be. Maybe we can give them like presidential talks. You talk 5 minutes from indigenous peoples, and you talk 5 minutes. So you have the obligation to share the time, and then you say something. But I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Maybe you can propose that in the next Facilitative Working Group meeting 4. About your question regarding to the mandate and the commitment that the Facilitative Working Group have, I'm not surprised, because we negotiate this, you know, and we know why it's called working group. We know that well, and there is no other Facilitate Working Group, because they didn't want us to be a negotiating body. I mean, we did know since 5 years ago, since the negotiation. I mean, we have limited mandate, and also as an indigenous person, we should be very clear ourselves. You know, do we want the Facilitative Working Group to do your work? Do you want this, Ghazali? Do you want Hindou and Estebancio talking on your behalf, or on other 7 members of the parties? I don't think so, because when we make a mistake, what then you gonna say? But it is why I'm saying I only know one place to make the decision, and with this caucus, because we do collectively. That's one thing. The other thing that you asked, that was a bit funny, but entertaining, but for me, too much. I mean, we already knew when the secretary say you don't have the mandate, and the SABSTA chair need to ask you for that, and the SABSTA already requested, but never requested about Article 6 itself.
No, yeah.
So why we are talking then, and what is what I say? Well, let's go and talk, I don't know, intersessional, one day. I don't like very much, as you know, the virtual meetings, but I do my best, and well, I will meet next month with you guys. No problem, and see what we can see, and then we can decide together as a Facilitated Working Group, but not as an Indigenous Peoples Caucus, because Indigenous Peoples Caucus need to make their own decision as an Indigenous peoples. But we should not, because we all are now here, 3 of us, we should not be asking Facilitated Working Group, do your work, and make a mistake, and I come back to my region and say, no, but we decided to give to the facilitator. And who are the facilitated members of the working group? Oh, 7 indigenous peoples and 7 parties. Oh, what the hell happened? You know, I mean, this is, maybe it's a bit of joke and stuff and realistic, but it's real situation that we have it. I mean, somehow I think that we need to sit really like a face-to-face meeting and see the faces, as a Hindu say, what are we thinking about, really? You know, I mean, I want to make very clear, because some people didn't understand what I say yesterday. Because after that they came. I'm not saying that I disagree what the letter supposedly coming from the caucus I'm not disagreeing with this position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not disagreeing. I mean, if we're talking about enhancing or indigenous people's rights, trying to reflect in the Article 6, the FPIC, the self-determination of indigenous people, I agree with all of that. What I disagree, and I say yesterday, I say to people to call me, and I say, just go and watch the video. I say, and that was my personal opinion. I told you, because you asked me as a facilitator, I said, no, I want to say that's my personal opinion. I disagree about the process, because I don't believe, even that I'm part of the Facilitative Working Group, that I don't believe that we should have that responsibility, that only Indigenous People Caucus should have that responsibility altogether.
A very, very good point, and I think I very much echo your position on that. That and Hindus as well. That it's the caucus role to make these moves under the UNFCCC. I have a final question for you guys. What are as you are representatives of Indigenous peoples in the Facilitative Working Group? What are you going to do next? Like in terms of give me some insights in reporting or conversation. What are you planning to do?
I think that it is too many things to do. Seriously.
Okay.
But I think that we need to clean our own house first as indigenous peoples. It's what I think.
As a caucus.
As a caucus, we need to give, let's say, I'm just going to put another hat. Let's say the caucus need to give us our function as a facilitated working group in order not to get those kind of issues. Because if not, we're gonna, can you imagine 17 UNFCCC bodies on the UNFCCC, and we are only 7.
Yeah.
What mean that 7 and 10 is gonna be represented by other people? And then we have to accept that also representing indigenous people. I mean, we need to be really very careful what we are doing. I mean, but about the collaboration, I think it's important because, for example, in case of my constituency from Amazon and Mesoamerican, the Article Working Group and Article 8J has been important for them. And our work still needs to be done 10C of the Article 8J. Now, how it's going to be? That's my interest on this, because my constituency interest is that. So I need to get full on this, but I really believe that our caucus need to somehow, I don't know, virtually, or we just start swimming each other and meet somewhere else. Maybe we meet in Maloko over there.
Please.
And then make some agreement how this gonna be working. But I think that it's too many documents.
Right.
Too many technical papers that we need to understand. As you say, the stock take presentation.
Wow.
I mean, that's one.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
that's a big monster.
Like
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think, as Estebancio said, there are a lot of things to do. We can do, of course, as he said, under the Indigenous People Caucus, we need to coordinate, reorganize, and see our places and our priorities and what we can do. And of course, we are members of the Facilitative Working Group, but we are firstly members of the caucus. So to do not see us that you, the Facilitative Working Group, and we, the caucus. So we are part of the caucus, and we get also the mandate from the caucus, and to see how we can discuss in our roles. And second, we have also the work to do under the Facilitative Working Group itself. As the Indigenous Peoples members, we need to see what will be the most important issues for us, what will be our positions. And then when we come all 7 together and we face the 7 from the state, we can have the same position, the same argument, not individual arguments that can be weakened when the government come against us. And all the documents of work, all the work plan that you need to co-chair, co-lead, to do the technical paper, to do whatever, I think we need to be clear on this one. What will be the outcome to our peoples? What will be the impact to our peoples? I think if we just do the work that the government did for 20 years in the Secretariat, and still the climate change impact is increasing the world, I do not will to do that. I do not wish to write a report, technical papers presented to the COP, to the SAPSTA, while the climate change impact is increasing and my people are dying. So it is not the solution. But if the things, those reports or those technical paper or research can end up with the concrete action that can lead to the concrete solutions to our communities back home, and maybe they can give us a timeline when they adopt this technical paper in the next COP 2021, and by the 2025, we can have this amount of the emission reduction and this amount of the activities on adaptations, forest recovery. Maybe that will be the useful where we can focus our energy. So we need really to revise everything, and we have no time. We have a lot of things to do because they're just calling us for the next meeting, 14 to 17 of December. What are we going to discuss 14 and 17? Are we going to discuss the same thing? That's why I'm saying really, we are already in October. It's going to be end of October. They have to do the summary of this report, share it with us. Maybe they translate it, maybe they cannot translate it. Our people who do not read all those languages, we have to do a small video and share with them, or just the audio and share with them to understand. By the time we do all this, we come to December. And it is really a right business to come to the December and say like, okay, you have a new agenda and discuss about the new thing. As I always say, I don't want us to be a checking list. We are not a checking box for them. So we need to discuss from now on before the meeting of the 14th. If they have the obligation to get paid to organize a 4 meeting a year, so it is not our problem. If the meetings are not going to our mandate, what we want in our communities, why they are organizing these meetings? We don't need to organize all those meetings to waste energy. Let me tell you one thing. People do not understand when we use the internet, the energy consumption that we are creating. Rather than having the solution, we create like energy consumption we can do against the climate change impact. So I don't think that it is really a clear solutions that we are looking for. So they need to think 2 times. Anyway, we will bring that, Estebancio and myself, we will bring that to the caucus, we will bring that to the Facilitative Working Group, and we will play our role. And I'm so thankful that we have those debriefing, and we know that when we come together, we are really a big force. You remember about the COP21, how we did COP21?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
So we will do it. I'm really happy first, and we will do it in the caucus, we will do it in Facilitative Working Group. We will win. Anyway, we will not give them the place to dominate the discussions of our communities.
100%. Estebancio, Hindou, thank you so much for your time, not just only today, but the last couple of days doing this debrief. Yeah, obviously, synthesis report stock take COP29. That's very far away, man. So we still have a long way to go. But thank you so much again for your dedication, and hopefully, let's settle it for 14th or 17th. We'll do another post game analysis. But for now, thank you so much for your time, and everyone else, thank you so much for watching, and hope that you have found value in these short debriefs. Have a good day, morning, evening, wherever you are.
Thank you. I have 2 kids waiting for me.
All right, have fun.
I know, because I thought, this is the last session, so it's gonna be quicker. I mean, this is only date and stuff and ceremony, and I say it's gonna finish around 11. So it's okay. Let's go that.
All right. Thank you guys so much, and